What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Middle of the Ring. I am your host, NP. We are reviewing Monday Night Raw that just went off the air a few minutes ago, live from Cincinnati, Ohio, my home away from home. Shout out to SCPA. We're about to get started. Let's get it going. So the opening match was Rusev versus Roman Reigns for that United States Championship, a rematch from yesterday. A pretty good match. Both men definitely showing the battle scars from yesterday and pulling through those to give us a good, excellent opening match. At the end of the day, Roman Reigns still your United States champion. It will be interesting, like always, to see what this storyline will mount to and what will be the next chapter in it. Obviously, we're going to see something from these two in their next pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else we're going to get from this program between Roman Reigns and Rusev. So the next match we're getting to is a rematch from last night. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson against the New Day for those tag team championships. If yesterday was a good match between these guys, tonight was definitely the icing on the cake. I mean, it was definitely a lot better than last night's. We definitely thought that the titles would change hands. It was a culmination of pinfalls and outside interference and inside interference and just knockdown drag out from Anderson and Gallows. They really looked like they were winning that championship tonight. But in true fashion, New Day pulls off the victory. Kofi Kingston with kind of a head injury from getting thrown into them stairs. So he had a little cut on the top of his head, I believe. But he was able to get that Trouble in Paradise and pick up the 1, 2, 3. It looks definitely like they're going to put New Day over as the longest reigning tag team champions in WWE history. Demolition record is 475, around there, somewhere like that. And I say give it about two more pay-per-views to the New Day, and they could possibly be losing their championships I would say, by Survivor Series. By then, they should be the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions in WWE history. But it's going to be interesting to see what else these 4 or 5 gentlemen have in store. I definitely see a match in Hell in a Cell, maybe the actual cage, and maybe put a 3-on-2 for those tag team belts, and possibly seeing what else can happen with these guys. So then we get into the cruiserweights, which I say are putting on some good dang on wrestling. We had Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann taking on Lynn Diaglo and Drew Gulak. Tag team match, and it was pretty much from start to finish exactly what a light cruiserweight division style match should be. Exciting flips, backflips, over the rope aerials, kicks, punches. I mean, it just delivered. Very good match, very much entertaining. Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann come out with that victory. And like I said, the cruiserweights are definitely putting on a clinic. So it's just going to be exciting to see what else they pretty much do. Now, we don't want to forget about the backstage shenanigans between Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon. Mick Foley basically confronting Stephanie about her actions last night during that match and afterwards on WWE Extras. Stephanie basically handing Mick Foley his balls, if you will. Not 100% sure where they're taking this, but I think it's going to be something awesome. It's going to be one of those game-changing moments. I can see it. So, although I was kind of uncomfortable, can still see the bigger picture that maybe this is going to be a big thing when it is really revealed. The game plan of Stephanie McMahon and Triple H and Mick Foley, for that matter. So, kind of interesting. We next get up Charlotte in the middle of the ring, basically celebrating her victory from the triple threat match yesterday with Bayley and Sasha Banks. Basically saying, hey, I cannot be beat. We get a couple of that for a couple of minutes, and then Sasha Banks would make her grand entrance. I was almost thinking somebody new was probably going to come up to kind of threaten her title reign, but at the same time, you can't be mad for Sasha Banks, the boss, coming through and basically saying, hey, that belt still belongs to me. After a couple of minutes of shenanigans, we will get that match next week, one-on-one, Sasha Banks versus Charlotte for the WWE Women's Championship. So you already know that's going to be a pretty good dang on match. Might even be the match of the night next week for Raw. So it will be interesting to see what goes on from there. These women are definitely putting on a good show as far as their matches, their promos, interaction with each other. So I'm enjoying it. Can't wait to see the match next week. So we get a squash match for Bayley. Our next match versus Anna Fields. And it basically was a squash match, which I say, cool, have no problem with that. Get some wins under Bayley before she goes after that title shot again. I just love the way they're going with Bayley. I know it's not the popular thing to say, but you put her in that main event, you let the people see she is worthy to be there. She doesn't win, you kind of get her to start building up her hit list as far as her matches, her wins and losses, and then you just throw her right back in there to that title run. And by the time she runs back into that title run, she would have had a couple of big victories on her belt and some wins in her column. So no real disappointment here. Go ahead and take that squash match victory. Get your numbers up, Bayley. So we would get into a cruiserweight match. I'll say it again. They are definitely going all out with these cruiserweights, giving them matches, giving them time, letting them show their skills. We would have AJ Perkins, his first debut match on Monday Night Raw as the Cruiserweight Champion, or since winning the Cruiserweight Champion from the Cruiserweight Classic. He would be facing a Tony Needs. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But this match was excellent. A lot of high flying spots, a lot of kicks, a lot of punches. It just was a good match. I almost want to say it was better than the match yesterday between TJ and Brian Kendricks. Just because I don't think Brian Kendricks is a high flyer like that. I think he's more of a ground and pound wrestler, which is fine. You definitely want some diversity in that cruiserweight division, but I would have liked to see a little bit more flying from him, being that this is his weight class. All in all, TJ Perkins put on a good show. Tony Needs, I forget his persona or his tag name, but he definitely put on a good match. He's one of the new guys that they're bringing up, so they're going to bring him in week by week. I believe the other gentleman in that tag team match, they believe his name is Lince Dorado. So it looks like they're going to be bringing up guys maybe every week, which is good. Get a couple of guys in there. Like I said, if you get a nice stable of guys in there, we'll have some better matches, tag team matches, singles matches. Get some more players in there for that Cruiserweight Championship. So we come to Cesaro and Sheamus, who had a pretty good damn match last night. I could almost say that match was the match of the night, really. Their final match in that best of seven. Unfortunately, Medics claimed both of them to be able to perform, although both of them were willing to continue to get a winner. Uh, we would catch them earlier in the ring with Mick Foley basically saying, I owe you guys a championship match, but I'm not just going to give it to one of you. I'm going to give it to both of you. I'm going to I'm going to pair you two up, put you on a tag team run. Um, I don't think this is what people were expecting, although I heard some people saying that this might happen, and I kind of was on the fence about it, didn't really know. But it is going to be interesting to see what goes on with these two. Um, I dare say they will not get to that Rock and Sock Connection platform, but they're going to have a pretty good run as a odd couple tag team, if you will. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with these guys. Um, they will get a title match against the New Day, and they were put into a pretty much squash match just to kind of get those tag team juices flowing. So it will be nice to see what happens with this because, as they showed, their pretty much antics will be comical. So we'll see what happens. Next up, we would get Seth Rollins returning to Raw. Earlier today, we would find out that he would not be medically cleared to perform tonight due to some injuries he sustained last night in his match against Kevin Owens. Um, he was met by Mick Foley, who basically told him, hey, look, I don't need you injuring yourself. I need you to just chill out and get cleared first and then take care of Kevin Owens. Seth Rollins let him know that he was going to take care of Seth Rollins and he didn't care what anybody thought, which would lead to Seth Rollins walking off and going to commercial. When we got back from commercial, it would be the highlight reel, Chris Jericho interviewing Kevin Owens. Chris Jericho with his list of Jericho, basically putting Seth Rollins and the cameraman on there for shooting his bad side. We would then get Seth Rollins coming out, try to get into the ring with Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. But Seth was met by security, Mick Foley, and some referees, getting him back to the back room area. Then we would get Enzo Amore and Big Cass come out there and do what they do best. A little back and forth between Big Cass and Chris Jericho, which would lead us to a tag team match. Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens versus Big Cass and Enzo. This was a pretty good match, and so pretty much had the pace of the match going very quickly through the first couple of minutes of that match. But once he got grounded, he was grounded, and he was pretty much put in that corner. Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens did a good job of cutting that rope, that ring off, keeping Big Cass on his side, and basically having their way with Enzo as far as a beatdown is concerned. Once Enzo got free and he got to that corner with Big Cass pretty much took over for a few minutes of that match. It was pretty much it was a good match. I enjoyed it. I definitely thought Enzo and Big Cass might come up with that victory. It really was looking like that would be the case. But Kevin Owens would put the power bomb on Enzo and pick up the 1-2-3. The Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens storyline, it's going to be interesting to see. Eventually, somebody's going to turn on somebody. I'm looking at Chris Jericho turning on Kevin Owens. Not 100% sure when, but I know it's coming. Chris Jericho, the best in the world at what he does. He's definitely deserving of another title run for a minute or so. So I can see him turning on Kevin Owens sooner than later. All in all, Monday Night Raw, their come home show from Clash of Champions was a pretty good one. It was entertaining, had its moments. It really didn't feel boring to me, but that's just me, my opinion. So, other than that, it was a pretty good show. So, That was my review. Like always, for any updates, reviews, news, you don't have to do anything else but meet me, NP, in the middle of the ring. Take care. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and share. Also, don't forget to follow me on YouTube at Middle of the Ring Pro Wrestling Talk. Also, follow me on Facebook at Middle of the Ring, all one word, and on Twitter, Middle of the Ring, all one word.